I still remember gripping that hospital lobby phone so hard my knuckles turned white. The anger in my chest boiled so hot it almost choked me. I could barely speak, but somehow I forced the words out when the front desk transferred my call up to their room. "Donnie," I said, voice low and sharp like a knife, "listen real close. If my boy dies before I get to talk to her, I swear to God, I will find you and tear you apart with my own two hands." There was a long silence. I heard some shuffling on the other end, maybe bedsheets, maybe panic. Then a low grunt. And finally, Jessica's voice, smooth and cold, slid through the receiver like she was answering a sales call. "Yes," she said, bored as anything. I clenched my teeth so hard my jaw popped. "When you are done rolling around with your boyfriend, you might want to haul yourself to the emergency room. Your son is fighting for his life." Dead air. No gasp, no cry, just a stretched-out pause that told me more than words ever could. I slammed the phone down before she could say another word. The humming fluorescent lights overhead buzzed in time with the rage pulsing in my skull. My boy, Ethan, was in the ICU after getting hit by a car. And Jessica? She was off at some cheap hotel, warming another man's bed. I paced that waiting room like a caged animal, my mind running through the last half year, connecting dots I had not wanted to see. The distance between us, her late business meetings, her new coldness. I had brushed it off, blamed work stress, told myself every marriage hits rough patches. I had been a damn fool. A nurse gently called my name. "He is stable for now," she said, almost whispering. I nodded, barely hearing her. I stepped into Ethan's room. Machines beeped and hissed around him. My little boy looked so small, so fragile. I took his hand in mine, swallowed down the lump in my throat, and promised him right then and there, "No matter what happens between me and Jessica, you will never have to question whether you are loved." My phone vibrated on the chair next to me. "Jessica." I answered without saying hello. "I am on my way," she said, like it was nothing, like this was some scheduled check-in. "Save it," I snapped. "I know exactly where you were." She went quiet for a beat. "We will talk when I get there," she said, her voice sharpening with that same old tone she used whenever I did something she found inconvenient. "You are damn right we will," I said and hung up. She showed up about half an hour later, strutting into the hospital like she had not a care in the world. Hair perfect, makeup flawless, still in that tight red dress she had left the house in that morning. She barely glanced at Ethan. "What happened?" she asked, like she was asking about a broken dish, not her own son. I stood up, trying to keep my voice steady. "While you were off playing house with your boyfriend, our boy got hit by a car." I watched her expression twitch, but she caught it fast, masking it with a shrug. "I was not with anyone," she said, rolling her eyes. "Bull," I barked. "I called the hotel. Talked to him myself." For a split second, guilt flickered across her face before she wiped it clean. "Fine," she said. "It was Donnie. But do not act like you are some saint, David. This marriage has been dead for years." My hands balled into fists at my sides. "Dead because you buried it." She sneered. "Maybe if you had not been married to your job, I would not have had to find someone else." I took a deep breath, steadying myself. "You are blaming me?" Jessica crossed her arms. "I needed something you stopped giving a long time ago." "Love?" I asked. "Respect? Loyalty? Passion?" she hissed. I shook my head, disgusted. "I was working myself to the bone to give you and Ethan a good life. And you were treating me like a stranger." Jessica turned her attention to her phone, texting like none of this mattered. "You disgust me," I said quietly. She looked up, smiling with sick satisfaction. "You always did take yourself too seriously." I sat back down by Ethan, running my fingers through his hair. I did not say another word to her. I would save my strength for what mattered, my son. Hours passed. Jessica wandered off to some waiting room, probably to gossip to whoever would listen. Good riddance. Later that night, Ethan stirred. His eyelids fluttered open, and I leaned in. "I am here, buddy," I whispered. He tried to speak, but barely managed a croaky "Dad." "I know," I said, smoothing his hair back. "You just rest now. I have got you." He drifted back to sleep, and I sat there, holding his hand like a lifeline. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was my brother, Mike. "You all right, man?" he asked, worry thick in his voice. "He is stable," I said, voice hollow. "But things are rough. You want me to come down?" I hesitated. Mike had always been there for me, but this was my mess to clean up. "Thanks, Mike," I said. "I will let you know." I leaned against the cold hospital wall, thinking back over the years. How did it come to this? How did the woman I married turn into a stranger who could stand 10 feet from her dying son and only care about covering her lies? The sound of heels clicking on tile pulled me from my thoughts. Jessica. She stopped a few feet away, arms crossed. We need to talk, she said sharply. I folded my arms across my chest. Then talk. Not here, she said, glancing around like the hospital was somehow beneath her. Outside. I followed her to the courtyard. The night air was cool, a small mercy. Jessica lit a cigarette. Took a drag like a scene out of some bad movie. I'm not going to apologize, she said, smoke curling out from between her teeth. No surprise there, I muttered. She glared. You think you were the victim here, but you are not. I laughed, a cold, humorless sound. Go ahead. Tell me how this is my fault. She took another long drag, her hand trembling just the tiniest bit. Jessica stared at me with that same cold look she had perfected over the years and said, I have been miserable in this marriage for a long time, David. Years. And if I finally found someone who made me feel alive again, that is not completely my fault. I blinked, the disbelief inside me boiling into a slow, burning fury. Are you seriously standing here trying to justify cheating on me, cheating on our family, while our son lies hooked up to machines in that hospital? Jessica let out an exaggerated sigh, like I was the unreasonable one. You just do not get it. Donnie listens to me. He actually cares. You have been so buried in your work and your own world, you never even noticed how unhappy I have been. You are unbelievable, I said, my voice rising before I could stop it. Do you even hear yourself? You are blaming me for your choices. You are the one who broke our vows, Jessica. Not me. She rolled her eyes and pulled hard on her cigarette. Maybe if you had been a better husband, I would not have had to look somewhere else. Something inside me finally snapped. A clean break. You are pathetic, I said, voice low and steady. You have destroyed everything we built, everything we fought for, all for a sleazy affair with some guy who probably only likes the thrill of sneaking around behind another man's back. Jessica smirked, like I had just told a bad joke. That look made my blood run hot. Say what you want, David, but at least Donnie makes me happy. Can you say the same about yourself? I had to physically unclench my fists to keep from doing something I would regret. You disgust me, I said, forcing the words out through gritted teeth. You do not even care about what this is doing to Ethan. You are so caught up in your pathetic little fantasy you cannot see the damage you have caused. She shrugged, her indifference sharper than any insult she could have thrown. Kids bounce back. Ethan will be fine. That was it. The final straw. I stepped closer, my voice shaking with barely controlled rage. Let me be real clear, Jessica. I will do whatever it takes to protect Ethan from this mess you created. If you think for even 1 second I'm going to let you drag him through your self-made disaster, you are dead wrong. Jessica held my gaze, her face unreadable. For one small moment, I thought she might finally crack, maybe show a little guilt, some hint of regret. But instead, she just flicked her cigarette to the ground, crushed it out under her heel, and said, Do whatever you have to do, David. I'm not going to beg. I watched her turn on her heel and walk away, her footsteps echoing across the pavement. A weird mix of rage and relief churned inside me. She was gone for now, but I knew the real fight was just getting started. Standing alone under that cold, empty sky, I made myself a promise. I would protect my son. I would fight for him with everything I had. Jessica's selfishness would not destroy the one good thing we had left. The drive home that night felt like the longest I had ever made. I had stayed at the hospital long enough to see Ethan fall asleep, watched over by the nurses. Jessica had stayed too, but I doubted it was because she cared. Probably just for appearances. I needed space. Time to think. To figure out what came next. The house was dark when I got there. The familiar silence felt different now, heavier, almost like the walls themselves were whispering about the lies Jessica had been hiding. I poured myself a glass of whiskey, the burn cutting through some of the numbness. I sank into the couch, staring blankly at the coffee table while the day's events looped through my mind like a bad movie I could not turn off. The hotel call. Her smirking face. Her trying to blame me for her betrayal. Then I noticed it, a small blinking light on the answering machine. Who even left messages anymore? I hit play. A robotic voice said, New message, today at 7:46 in the evening. And then I heard it. Hey Jessica, it's Donnie. Just checking in. I know it got a little crazy with your kid in the hospital, but hey, I am here if you need me. Call me when you can, babe. I froze, the whiskey glass halfway to my lips. The casual tone, the disgusting comfort with which he spoke, it hit me like a baseball bat to the gut. He sounded so at home leaving a message on my phone in my house. My hand slammed the glass down so hard it cracked, but I barely noticed. The anger roared inside me, filling every inch of my chest. How dare they? How dare she? My phone buzzed again on the table. Mike. This time, I answered. David, Mike said, voice tight. What is going on, man? You said you were handling it, but I can tell something is not right. I took a breath that tasted like fire. She is cheating on me, Mike. There was a long silence. You sure? Positive, I said, bitterness dripping from every syllable. Caught her. She does not even deny it. Some guy named Donnie. And he had the nerve to leave a message on our phone. Mike let out a low whistle. Damn, brother. I do not even know what to say. Are you holding up? Define, okay. I muttered. My boy is in the hospital, my marriage is dead, and there is some clown thinking he can play father to my kid. Mike's voice dropped into that steady tone he always used when things got serious. You need to lawyer up. Right now. Protect yourself and protect Ethan. If she is willing to be this reckless, she could do a lot more damage than just breaking your heart. I closed my eyes. I knew he was right. Mike was always right. But hearing it out loud made it all the more real. This was not just a betrayal. This was a full-blown war. I will call someone first thing in the morning, I said, my voice low. Good, Mike said. And David? Do not let her twist this. She will try. Do not let her make you doubt what you know is true. I will not, I said. Though inside, doubt still scratched at me like a splinter. After I hung up, I sat in the heavy silence. I knew I needed to move, needed to act, but it felt like I was stuck, like every step forward would just make it hurt worse. Then the front door creaked open. Jessica. She clicked across the hardwood floor in those ridiculous heels, looking up with a flash of surprise when she saw me still awake. Did not think you would still be up, she said, setting her purse down like nothing was wrong. Did not think you would still be pretending we have a marriage left, I said, my voice flat. She froze, just a second, just long enough for me to catch the flicker of irritation. What is that supposed to mean? It means I heard your boyfriend's voicemail, I said coldly. Right here. On our house phone. Jessica's eyes narrowed. You went through my messages? I let out a sharp, humorless laugh. Do not even try it. He called here. Left a message here. Do not act like I am the bad guy. Her arms crossed tight over her chest. You are making a big deal out of nothing. Donnie was just checking in. It is not a crime. Checking in. I barked, my voice sharp. While your son lies in a hospital bed. While I sit here trying to hold our family together. Her jaw tightened. She did not say anything. You have done a lot of awful things, Jessica, I said, anger bubbling to the surface. But this is a new kind of low. Do you even care about Ethan? Or am I the only one left who does? Do not you dare question my love for my son. She snapped, her voice cutting through the air. Then start acting like his mother. I shouted, my voice bouncing off the walls. Jessica stood there, cold and calculating. You are always playing the victim, David. Maybe if you had been half the husband I needed, none of this would have happened. I shook my head, the disbelief washing over me. Keep telling yourself that, Jessica. Keep spinning your little lies. But deep down, you know the truth. You are selfish. You are heartless. Careful, she said, voice icy. No, I said, stepping closer. You do not get to silence me anymore. This is all on you. She grabbed her purse and stormed toward the door. I am not doing this with you. Of course not, I said, voice dripping with disgust. The door slammed behind her so hard the pictures on the wall shook. And just like that, the house was silent again, but it did not feel like home anymore. It felt like a battlefield. Whatever came next, I was ready. Because I was done letting Jessica call the shots. It was no longer about Jessica. It was time to fight for what truly mattered, Ethan and myself. The next morning, I called Mike. No small talk, no hesitation. You were right, I said flatly. I need a lawyer. You know someone good? Mike answered without missing a beat. Yeah, I got a guy. Best in town. I will text you his number. Funny how just making that call felt heavier than catching Jessica in all her lies. Calling a lawyer made it official. There would be no turning back after this. This was not some rough patch we could patch up with a weekend away. This was the end, plain and simple. Still, there was no time for second guessing. I punched in the number Mike gave me and soon enough was speaking to a calm, no-nonsense voice named Richard Lawson. The man was all business. David, he said, I have seen your situation 100 times. First step is getting your priorities straight. Custody, financial protection, making sure your boy is safe. Are you ready for this? I gripped the phone a little tighter. Yes. I do not think I have a choice anymore. Good, Richard said. Meet me tomorrow. We will get started. After hanging up, I sat back on the couch. The relief was mixed with a heavy sense of dread. I was finally taking back some control, but the road ahead looked brutal. I was not just fighting Jessica's betrayal. I was dismantling the life we had built room by room. Jessica came stumbling home that night, reeking of cheap perfume and vodka. Her heels clicked clumsily across the floor like she had not a care in the world. Where have you been? I asked, my voice even but cold as steel. She gave me a sloppy smirk, leaning against the wall for balance. Out with Donnie. When I pressed her, her smirk twisted into a sneer. None of your damn business. You are unbelievable, I said, shaking my head in disgust. You walk in here like everything is normal, like you have not shattered everything. She rolled her eyes, brushing past me like I was the problem. Spare me the speech, David. You are just mad you cannot control me anymore. That was it. I stepped into her path, blocking her way. This is not about control, Jessica. It is about respect. About vows you threw away like trash. She glared at me, arms crossed. You want respect? Maybe you should have earned it. I breathed deep, forcing myself not to snap. I have had enough, I said. I have already spoken to a lawyer. You can either work with me, or you can fight and make it worse for yourself. Your choice. For a moment, just a flicker, her mask slipped. Then she laughed, a hollow, bitter sound. A lawyer, huh? Fine. You think you can take Ethan from me? Think again. Watch me, I said, steady as a rock. I will do whatever it takes to protect him. She had no comeback. She stomped upstairs and slammed the door hard enough to rattle the frames on the wall. The next morning, she was already gone, left behind a half-empty bottle of cheap wine on the counter like a signature. I did not care. Later that day, I met Richard downtown. His office was sharp and cold, a lot like him, which gave me a strange comfort. Have you started collecting evidence? He asked, tapping a pen against his notepad. Not yet, I admitted. Start now, he said firmly. Texts, voicemails, photos, anything that shows instability or neglect. We need everything. Got it, I said, feeling a new kind of fire in my gut. And David, Richard added, locking eyes with me, stay calm. She will try to provoke you. Any outburst she catches could be twisted against you. I nodded. It was good advice, but Jessica knew exactly how to crawl under my skin. Back at the house, I got to work. I combed through everything: emails, call logs, social media posts. It did not take long. There it was. Picture after picture of Jessica and Donnie at bars, sitting too close, laughing like two teenagers. Text messages too. Flirty ones. Dirty ones. Ones with heart emojis. I saved it all. Every bit made my stomach turn, but it also hardened my resolve. A week later, Jessica made her next move. She barged into the house in the middle of the afternoon, her face flushed red with anger. She threw a stack of papers onto the table. What the hell is this? She snapped. I barely looked up. Divorce papers. You are serious? She screeched. Dead serious, I said. This marriage is done, Jessica. Has been for a long time. She scoffed, tossing the papers back at me. You think you are some kind of hero? You think you can just take Ethan away from me? Good luck proving you are the stable parent, I said, voice cold as ice. I have got more than enough evidence. Her eyes narrowed into slits, but she said nothing. Just grabbed her purse and stormed out again. When the door slammed shut, I sat down and let out a breath I did not even realize I had been holding. For the first time in a long time, I felt like the one steering the ship. Jessica did not come home that night. And for once, the silence in the house felt peaceful. With Ethan still resting another night in the hospital, I spent the evening flipping through old photo albums. Pictures of his first birthday, his first lost tooth, our trips to the park. Every snapshot reminded me why I was doing this. It was not about revenge. It was about Ethan. A buzz pulled me from my thoughts. Mike. Keep your head up, the message read. If you need anything, you know where I am. I sent a quick thanks and put the phone down. People like Mike reminded me, not everyone was selfish like Jessica. The next morning, I picked up Ethan from the hospital. Seeing him smile, even weakly, was like seeing the sun for the first time in weeks. Dad, where's Mom? He asked quietly as I buckled him into the car. She is busy right now, I said carefully. But I am here, and we are going to have a great day. He nodded, too tired to ask more. As I drove us home, I made a silent vow. No matter how ugly it got, Ethan would know he was loved. We got home. Ethan went straight to his room for a nap. I was just sitting down with a cup of coffee when the front door slammed open again. Jessica stormed in, full of rage. Are you insane, David? She screamed. You served me divorce papers? And now you are trying to take Ethan from me? I stayed calm. Put my coffee down. I am doing what is best for him. Something you clearly do not understand anymore. You do not get to decide that, she barked, stepping closer. I am his mother. From where I stand, I said, rising to meet her glare, you have been too busy running around with Donnie to even remember you have a son. She flinched, but recovered fast. You have always been jealous, David. Always afraid I would find someone better. I laughed, bitter and humorless. You picked Donnie. Real upgrade there. Her face flushed with anger. At least he listens to me. Good for you, I said. Now take your drama somewhere else. Our argument kept getting louder. I hated that Ethan might hear. I hated even more that Jessica did not seem to care. Finally, I stepped back. This is pointless. Let the court sort it out. Jessica sneered. You think this is over? It is not. Not by a long shot. She grabbed her bag and slammed the door so hard the house shook. Later that afternoon, I went to check the voicemail. I was half expecting another drunk message from Donnie, but what I heard froze the blood in my veins. Jessica, it is Donnie, the message began. His voice was lower, serious. Listen, we have a problem. David is not as dumb as you said. If he finds out about the money, we are screwed. Call me. Money? I played the message again, heart racing. Money. Something bigger was going on, and Jessica had not just betrayed our marriage. She had been stealing. And now, I was going to uncover every dirty secret she thought she had buried. I found Donnie sitting at his desk pretending to be busy. I did not give him a chance to fake his way out. We need to talk. Now. He looked around like he was weighing his options, then finally nodded and led me to a small glass-walled office. I closed the door behind us and went straight at him. What is going on with the money? I asked, my voice sharp as a knife. Donnie went pale. I do not know what you are talking about, he muttered, shifting from foot to foot. I slapped the printouts onto his desk. Do not play stupid. You left a message, remember? If he finds out about the money, we are finished. Ring any bells? He stared at the papers like they might catch fire. His hands trembled. Look, man. I do not want any trouble. Too late for that. I snapped. Talk. He sighed, wiping his sweaty palms on his jeans. Jessica said it was her savings. She told me she wanted to invest it in a business deal, something she did not want you involved in. What business deal? I demanded, leaning closer. He mumbled, some property investment. She said you would never approve. I narrowed my eyes. You are lying. That money was not hers to move around. And if you think this is over, you are more foolish than you look. For a second, Donnie's fear shifted into anger. Listen, man, whatever is going on between you two. I cut him off, stepping right into his space. You think you are her knight in shining armor? Newsflash, Donnie. She is using you the same way she used me. Before he could open his mouth, I turned and walked out. There was no saving him. I had bigger things to handle. Setting the trap. Back home, I called Richard and laid everything out. Good work, he said. This strengthens your custody case a lot. Financial misconduct, hidden funds, it all paints a clear picture. For the first time in a long time, hope crept back into my chest. That evening, Jessica came barging through the door, her hair messy, her makeup smudged. She looked like she had run through a storm and lost. Before she could even toss her purse onto the table, I stepped into her path. Care to explain why our family money is funding Donnie's latest scam? Her face froze, then hardened. I do not owe you an explanation, she said, folding her arms across her chest. You do not owe me? I stepped closer, my voice low but burning. That money was meant for our future. For Ethan's future. And you tossed it away like pocket change. She rolled her eyes. Oh, please. Donnie is not scamming anyone. He is helping me get out of this miserable excuse for a life. Those words hit harder than any slap. Suffocating. I repeated. You mean the life I worked my hands raw to build? The home you could not even respect long enough to stay faithful? Jessica sneered. You are pathetic, David. Always the victim. Always boring. No wonder I needed someone like Donnie. That was it. I was finished arguing. I already filed for divorce, I said, staring her down. And trust me, Richard is building a case so tight you will not slip through it. For the first time, Jessica looked nervous. You think you can take Ethan from me? She hissed. I do not think, I said. I know. Without another word, she grabbed her keys and stormed back out into the night. The big discovery. The next day, the bank called. "Mr. Harris," the voice said, "we flagged several transactions tied to offshore accounts, all under Jessica Harris's name." I nearly dropped the phone. Offshore accounts. She had not just been funneling money to Donnie, she had been hiding it, laundering it, maybe even planning her escape. "Send me everything you have," I said tightly, trying to hold my voice steady. The second I hung up, I called Richard. "This changes everything," he said. "We are going to freeze her assets. She will not have a penny she cannot explain." Finally, she was going to face the music. That evening, after getting Ethan to bed, he asked in a sleepy voice, "Dad, are you and Mom done fighting now?" I swallowed hard. "I do not know yet, buddy. But no matter what, I am not going anywhere. I promise." He smiled softly and drifted off to sleep. It hit me then. Everything I was fighting for, everything I was sacrificing, was for him. Not revenge. Not anger. Just him. Judgment Day. The court date came quicker than I expected. The room was packed with lawyers, clerks, and spectators. Jessica sat across from me, cold and rigid. Her lawyer whispered in her ear while she glared daggers at me. I stayed calm. Ethan was safe with Mike, far from this mess. Richard stood and presented our evidence with brutal precision. The missing funds, Jessica's affair, the offshore accounts, even Donnie's involvement. Jessica's lawyer tried to spin it, painting me as controlling and distant. But numbers do not lie. Records do not care about excuses. And then Richard called Donnie to the stand. You could feel the buzz ripple through the courtroom as Donnie shuffled up to the witness seat, looking like a man marching to the gallows. Richard did not waste time. "Mr. Carter, were you aware that the funds Jessica Harris transferred to you were family money?" Donnie squirmed, looking anywhere but at Jessica. "She said it was hers." I did not ask too many questions. "And the offshore account?" Donnie swallowed hard. "That was her idea. She said it was for a safety net if things got bad." Richard nodded and turned to the judge. "Your Honor, we rest our case." Jessica's face twisted in fury. When it was her turn to speak, she exploded. "I did what I had to do," she shouted. "David was suffocating me. Donnie made me feel alive again." I stood, my voice cutting through the courtroom. "While you were chasing your excitement, Jessica, Ethan was in a hospital bed. Alone." She opened her mouth, but no words came. "You failed him," I said. "And you failed yourself." The judge struck his gavel to quiet the room, but the damage was done. Jessica's lies lay in shambles at her feet. Victory. After a short recess, the judge gave his ruling. Full custody to me. Supervised visitation for Jessica. Her accounts frozen. Restitution ordered. The gavel slammed again, and just like that, it was over. Jessica stormed out without a word. Donnie followed her, looking more like a kicked puppy than the big shot he had once thought he was. That evening, I took Ethan out for pizza. Watching him laugh and joke, free from all the tension, reminded me why I fought so hard. On the way home, he asked, "Dad, is everything going to be okay now?" I looked at him in the mirror, smiled, and said, "Yeah, buddy. It is going to be just fine." Closing thoughts. Sitting on the porch later that night, I realized something important. Jessica's betrayal did not define me. Her lies did not destroy me. They revealed who she really was and gave me a second chance at life. If you ever find yourself where I was, remember this. Betrayal is not the end. It is the beginning of your freedom. You are stronger than you think. And you deserve peace. Never let anyone make you believe otherwise.